Yeah. Streamception.
Streamception. Okay, cool. Hi, how are you? Thanks for the follow. Okay, am I muted? I'm not muted. Okay, good. I'm not late. Shut up. Wait, okay. Nato is caught the worm once again. I can't believe. I didn't think you were this serious about it when you said you're gonna catch every worm this month. But yes, welcome. Welcome everyone to a very special collaboration today with, as you can see, the lovely Cactusroom and the lovely JustJoanne, or Joanne for short. I'm just going to wait. Let me. There we go. We're like loaded today. It's like kind of like a repeat of the setup of last time we had Joanne here and we were reading out Japanese folklore, Japanese folk tales. Except this time we're reading out actually original stories from our very own Cactusroom. Very excited. I haven't like heard of these stories yet before, so I was looking forward to hear it. Oh, should I mute myself while we're now, or is this fine?
I think I'm gonna be rating you in like 2 seconds. Give me a rate. Oh, actually, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yes, please, if you haven't yet, go check out. Go check out Joanne. Just Joanne. See? Wham! Wait!
And Emerald's here.
I didn't know that was a category. Wait, hold on. Let me change it. Is it? Wait, no.
You can have art or reading fun. There's not one for both. It's a shame there's not one for both.
I just set it to just chatting. But,
could be that.
Yeah, it works. It's like a generalist kind of thing, right? Oh! Hello, son. How are you, Java? How's the Java, man? I don't know, my Wi-Fi's out. No! Myself. Cactus! They're here. The roomies are here. The roomies, the homies, welcome in! Are you ready to hear? Has Cactus like read? How many of Cactus's stories have you heard on stream before? Have you told them any of them yet, Cactus? Have they heard the worst of it?
They haven't got the worst of it, but a couple of them have read some of them because I posted them in the Discord. But then most of the people maybe only heard one that I read the other day.
I see. Well, there's more where that came from. There's a lot more where that came from. So, I hope you're looking forward to all of Cactusroom's incredible writing today. Here, let's give both of you a massive other shout out as well. In the meantime, if you would like to introduce yourselves for our stream, feel free to do so.
I guess say which one of us you want to go first, so we know.
Joanne, do you want to go first?
All right. Well, Emerald wants to know where's my shout out.
There it is. There's a shout out. Emerald.
She's chilling as usual. Well, my name is Joanne. I am a singer-songwriter, lately trying to learn music production, and sometimes do gaming and other shows like this one. And I'm friends with both you guys and been on Twitch. It'll be 3 years in January. I'm from Pennsylvania, USA.
Nice. Thank you so much for it. Joanne's the one who brought up the collab. I'm not sure if she's the one who brought it up with Cactus too. But at least she was the one who brought it up with me.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great idea. So thank you for kind of like putting the collab together.
I enjoy working with other people. One of my favorite things.
Yay!
There's something really interesting happening right now on my screen.
Oh, wait, what is happening?
It's not good.
Huh?
This
Oh my
is what's happening on my
god!
screen right now.
Ah,
Yeah. So,
what?
maybe Twitch is
yeah,
not
can you guys see
happy
that?
because you joined guest star while you were streaming or something.
Yeah, maybe. I might
My
have to
god.
just come back out and come
Yeah,
back in
sure,
again
go
once
ahead,
more.
go ahead.
Okay, well, he looks okay from this side, but
Yeah, yes, you seem non-glitchy so far. But I haven't taken a moment to introduce myself yet, so I'll do that right now. Hello, my name is Snivi. I'm an artist and an animator, and today I will be your humble illustrator for all of the stories that Cactus and Joanne will be reading out for you. Thank you very much for coming by, and I hope you enjoy your stay. Tablet isn't
I
working,
guess
so I'm
you might
using my
have to
phone.
re-invite him, Snivi. I'm not sure how that's done.
He seems fine for now.
Okay. Well, I guess.
He's
Yeah, oh, there
colorful
he is. Now
now.
he looks all purple. Very,
Okay.
very nice.
Let's.
Is
Okay.
this on purpose? Now we're being spooky or what?
No.
It's Halloween again. It's Halloween.
I mean, I didn't quite
That should
have a
work
chance
now.
to get my video perfect, and I'm not going to worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, welcome Matthew the Rusic. Matthew, welcome. Welcome Yanko! Welcome Gofnia! What the heck? Yeah, it's a big cactus on me. Thank you for rating in Cactus. Do we get a sneak peek of what your 2 stories today will be about?
Oh, there's 2 stories? Oh, I sent Joanne 4 stories.
4! Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can go for 2. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, however many we can get through.
Sure. We could either do the ones that you've read already or the ones that you haven't read, I guess. So one of the short stories is a nice, wholesome psychopath murder friendship story. The
Psychopath.
other one.
How does it go together? How do those words work together?
I mean, there's something just nice about what's more pure love than psychopath love, right? It's like the most. There's like parent love for their kids, and then there's like psychopath love for their fascination, and there's like everything else, right? So it's pretty good.
I love your tier list.
Anyways, another one is I guess kind of like a whimsical story about this I guess girl running away from pursuers in the woods. One of them is like a fairy tale style thing, and then one of them is I guess like a nostalgic story about a father returning home to find his daughter.
I see. Okay, I know about that. I know what you have fun with that. Okay.
Yeah, so those are the 4 stories.
I see. Do you have any plans on which one we're going to start with? Maybe gentle one. Maybe we ease them into it.
Sure. I think the one about the person in the woods is pretty gentle, I think.
Ooh. I see.
It's pretty short too.
Huh? Okay, nice.
Right, which one is that, Cactus?
That's the one called Painting.
Painting. Ooh. Also, welcome Text GPT. Welcome Glyphinia. Welcome Rootman. Hello. How are you? How have you been? Was it a good stream? Overall, I know I popped in for a fair bit of it, but
Yeah, it was fun.
Neat.
I'm really excited to do this thingy.
A thingy.
It seems like
A thingy.
I don't know. It's like an interesting thing. I've never done a reedy thing before. So.
Yeah. I was surprised it worked out well last time doing than I did, so.
I think it did. Yes.
Great. My shout out
Now
for
I
Cactus didn't work, did it? Okay, here we go.
You're gonna be in the way.
Cacman. You just got a nickname. How's that? You have Frank and you have Cacman.
I feel like Cactus Frank is always going to be at the top of the tier list.
Sure,
Cactus
too.
Frank.
Got a busy day. Forced alert.
Nice.
Oh, good. Oh, good day too. Thanks for popping in.
Alright, so in the past, Cactus, when we read, I mean, how would you like to do this? You want me to do a page and then you do a page? Because I found sometimes it's awkward when, like, I try to do a trading paragraph back and forth thing, but like sometimes the paragraphs can be really small. So would it be better, do you think, if we trade back and forth pages?
Yeah, sure, we could do that. There's also spots in this with dialogue, so it might make sense as well if we just alternate for dialogue or something like that.
Okay, we can do that. That sounds
So you
cool.
could swap pages and then swap dialogue.
Okay. So, like, so when there's a paragraph, I'm a little confused. So when it's like, this is, we start with having this be your page.
What? Wait, sorry. Sorry, I left I left my own guest star. What? Are we still? We're still. No.
Stamped their
Are we
prints
back?
onto the blank canvas. She listened to the differences in sound that the snow produced as she sprinted through the forest of white and green. Some crisp, some airy. Others were lower, deeper, more rich in timbre. Some crunched like the crust of a pie, straight from the oven. The snow beneath her feet squeaked. Squeak? The snow must be freshly fallen. She thought of the new sound and texture as she ran. Squeak, squeak. She felt her gums getting itchy at the sensation. Was it irritating? Or satisfying? Squeak, squeak. What caused the noise? She thought about her foot crashing down, compressing the air out of the snow, shrinking the gap between each snowflake until they couldn't take any more. And squeak. Mind her own business, pal. One of the snowflakes would squeak to another.
It's not my fault, squeaked the snowflake in response.
Well, could you give me a bit of space then? Squeaked the snowflake.
I'm afraid not. Maybe we'll just have to live with it. Want to be friends? Squeaked the snowflake hopefully.
You know, I think that might just be all. The tree to the right of the girl suddenly gained a new branch. Long, thin, quivering, and with 3 feathers at its tip. She smiled to herself at the unusual sight, and then shook her head. Focus. Master always said she got distracted too easily. You must live in the present moment, fully absorbed in what needs to be done in the now. She dashed ahead and hit her body in front of the nearest tree. The arrow lodged itself into the trunk with a dull thud. The tree shook slightly. A dusting of snow fell from its pines and drifted lazily down towards her. They gathered atop her head and shoulders like a veil. She heard celebratory bells. The entire city paused in that moment to honor her coronation. As the thin gauze of the veil settled onto her back, the sun emerged from the clouds. Through the stained glass windows, the hall was blessed with a warm, golden glow. She stood up and gently smiled as she addressed her subjects, raising her right hand covered with the blood of her Wait. Oh.
The girl heard a thump as a body fell in front of her, in front of the tree. Warm droplets of liquid fell from her right hand, melting small red holes in the snowy floor. She flicked the blood off her dagger and sheathed it. The man clutched his throat and gargled. His life flowed out, spreading gently through the snow. Pure white canvas was painted with the end of his experiences, hopes, and desires. I wonder if he had a family. Focus. She ran. That's one less pursuer. Sorry, that should have been your line. Oh well. She took a
No, no,
moment.
that's your line.
Oh, okay. She took a moment to glance back and see how many more were left. Seeing the number, she decided to think about it. Well, like Master said, it's best to focus on the present. Oh, I see, because it's all still the same character. The sound of rushing water entered her ears. She knew that her destination was close. She ducked out of the way in a hurry and saw an arrow disappear into the snow in front of her. Would that arrow ever be retrieved? Maybe somebody would find it in the spring when the snow thawed and life blossomed once more. Maybe a shrew would take it home. Honey, look what I found, the shrew would say.
Dear, that's a stick, she would reply.
No, honey, it's not. Just any stick, look. It has feathers. Perhaps Mr. Tree has finally decided to take the next step with Mrs. Oh my god, that was cute. Oh, with Mrs. Bird.
Dear, that's not how things work.
Maybe I should bring this stick back. It's their first child, after all. ... Honey, are you listening?
Yes, dear.
I said maybe I should bring the stick back. It's their first child, after all.
Yes, dear. You should go do that. I'm sure Mr. Tree would appreciate it.
Okay, I'll be back, so... I guess this is...
She rolled down the snowbank, clutching her shoulder. A single red smear stood out in the landscape of pure white. She smiled. Ha! Take that, master. You said I would never leave a mark, but look ye in despair. Tremble from my might, as I, the great princess, have left my mark upon nature itself. She looked at her painting, then stood up and continued running. It would have been nice if I had the time to admire it. Splash. Her moccasins greedily soaked up the freezing water as she ran down the creek. Water sprayed up to the sky in her wake. The rocks were painted in her tracks. Master was right about one thing, though. She tried moving her left arm, but felt a sharp pain, shooting from her fingertips up to her shoulder. I probably should have focused. The sound of water grew louder, her feet grew colder. The river at the end of the path roared and threatened her to stay away. Hi, sorry to intrude, Mr. River. Pleased to meet you.
I'll kill you.
That would be most scary, but I think I'm more afraid of the people behind me doing the same.
I wonder, should I keep my... Oh, is that you, or...
Yeah.
I wonder, should I...
You just stay away.
Okay. I see. I wonder, should I keep my clothes on or off? Oh, no, you just stay... Just stay away. And then you say that part, sorry.
Right. I wonder, should I keep my clothes on or off? If I jump in with these furs, they'll get heavy and I might drown.
Are you listening?
Yes, listening. But if I take my clothes off, I'll probably freeze to death after I get out of the river.
You'll suffocate in my depths.
Shh, please. I'm trying to think. Well, the clothes will be very cold after I get out anyways, unless maybe I can find a cave, start a fire, and dry off. In that case, it would probably be worthwhile to keep them for later. But are there even caves in this region? Probably not.
She took off her fur coat and moccasins, thwip, and jumped into the river. Alright, sorry to intrude. Please take care of me. Splash. White. The roar of water. Her entire system froze as her vision blanked from the shock. Time stopped flowing. She almost gasped. No! Resist the urge. Your fate may change at the whim of gods, but your body and your mind belong to you, and you alone.
Yes, master.
The memory flitted through her mind. How much time has passed? The world was in stasis, as frozen as she felt her lungs ached. It must have been a while. She calmed herself and started to swim up the surface of the river. It was heavy. She kicked off her pants. It felt easier. The girl reached the surface and took it in a lungful of precious air. It was cold, excruciatingly, blindingly cold. So cold that she didn't notice the river swirling in front of her. She breathed again. Choke. Sputter. Her breath was violently interrupted by the sudden intake of water that violated her airways as she was dragged under by the current. All the mantras in the world could not have prevented her panic. She coughed. The water entered her lungs. Her panic worsened. Chest burning, lungs in agony, gasping for a breath that wasn't there. She wanted to cough. Focus.
Cough. I want to cough. Get the water out. Breathe air. I need air. I need air. I need air. If I cough, I'll get air.
No.
I'm gonna die. Let's claw our way to the surface. Fight, live, swim, struggle, survive.
No, wait.
How can we wait? I'm dying. Move, move, move. If we don't move now, we'll never move again. I need air. We need air. Please, 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 please. Air. Up. Let's move.
Wait.
How long?
Wait.
I can't keep holding my breath. I barely got half a breath up there, and I lost the rest of it when that stupid river assaulted me. Tried to kill me. Wasn't it supposed to be my friend?
Wait.
How long?
Until it's time.
She felt herself calming down. Her lungs felt like they were going to explode. She couldn't see anything. She was cold, freezing, dying. But she regained focus and she waited. Time lost all meaning. Had seconds passed? Or minutes? She had no way to tell. Every instinct in her body was begging her to act, to fight for survival. But she waited. Is it time?
Almost.
The currents wrapped around her, pulling her left and right. She removed her tunic using her right hand. She felt lighter. She waited. Is it time?
Let's see, I lost my place. She waited. We're on this, where she let it, she traced the precious. She felt her hair as it bubbled to the surface. How strange. She thought her hair.
That's your page now, basically.
Okay, she let out a small bit of air through her nose. The act of exhaling brought her some small comfort. She thought the precious resource. Hello. It looks like For some reason, I'm muted on my stream. I don't know why. Anyway, but you can hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, maybe this will be better for them. She let out a small bit of air through her nose. The act of exhaling brought her some small comfort. She traced the precious resource as it left her body, felt it tickle against her hair as it bubbled to the surface. How strange. She thought about her hair. It must have been floating lazily in the water at this time, while her body screamed plaintively for the smallest hint of breath. Her hair had been flowing along with the current. Is this how it feels to be seaweed? She imagined herself at the bottom of the ocean, warm underwater currents pushing her to and fro, taking her to destinations unknown. She flowed along willingly. Why, hello, Mr. Crab.
Oh my, a talking seaweed. How peculiar.
You're one to talk.
Quite right you are, my dear.
That's not what I meant.
But that's how I interpreted it.
The two looked at each other for a moment. So how did a crab like you learn to be so regal?
An excellent question, but first, I think I might be running late. Do you have the
time? She exhaled her last scrap of air and felt it flowing up to the surface of the water. She traced the precious resource and followed it with her body. She clawed, thrashed, and struggled to the surface. With all her might, the current freed her, and she fought for freedom with every fiber of her being. Her head reached the surface, and she took a breath. Air rushed into her lungs. It was delicious. She took a few more. Her left shoulder ached. Her limbs were numb. She was freezing and shivering, but in spite of everything, she smiled. Her thoughts moved slowly, like a glacier drifting through the Arctic. Master, I finally understand the importance of breath. Are you proud of me? The girl removed the last of her garments. The garments were agonizing. It took an eternity, or perhaps it was a few seconds. She felt lighter. It was cold. She lifted her head back and pointed her feet downstream. It was cold.
Time stood still, but somehow the trees and rocks continued to move along as the girl laid in the river. She closed her eyes and thought about her painting, her personal mark on this world left behind. A streak of red, brilliantly dividing the landscape into two halves. She smiled. It was warm.
Yay. I'm not sure I understand what happened, though. But a nice story. She was in the river and she was freezing in the river. I don't know, maybe. And the river, she was talking to the river and the creatures in it. And where was the painting? The blood?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to greet my chat real quick. Apparently I was muted on my end in my chat, which is okay. I think I have it fixed now. And all good. Welcome in, friends. I do have a streamer to shout out. Cactus, have you ever met Orbiter Guitars?
Yeah. I've seen them around. They are a luthier, right?
Yes. Orbiter is in my chat right now. Welcome in,
Cool.
Orbiter. So let's take a look at. Can you show us the pictures you drew, Sniv? Because
Yes, I can.
see them all.
Of course. So I missed some of the start of it, so I was a bit lost at first. I was like trying to piece everything together since I accidentally closed guest star, and then I couldn't hear anyone. I was like rushing to open again. But I called a bit about the snowflakes and stuff. So we have the snowy winter scene with the two snowflakes talking to each other, and then I assumed like there was a person and there was like another. There were multiple people. One of them was chasing the other one. What was it?
Nice.
And then there was the arrow in the snow, and then there's a little. Was it little rodents?
Oh, wow.
Little rodents coming to admire the stick in the snow. And then the blood. And here's when she goes to the river and jumps in. And then the last one I got to was this. With the like the face here, but it's meant to be of her like struggling in the river.
I think my favorite part was the part about the shrews finding the arrow.
Yeah, that was
made me laugh.
cute. that was an oddly like fantastical sort of story, despite the grave situation.
Yeah. Basically, like I guess to explain the story, it's like the girl is like head in the clouds, so like she's always just lost in her own imagination.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And so the entire time, like she's seeing all these scenes around her, and then getting distracted and like imagining random things happening, or like imagining talking to like the trees and the river and whatnot. And then one of the times when she gets distracted, she gets shot by an arrow because she wasn't paying attention.
Like a random arrow. From a hunter?
You missed the beginning of the story, but like she's being chased by like a whole bunch of pursuers.
Right, yeah. Oh no! What's that about the monster? Was it her monster that she was running from? I assumed that like, because she was being very defiant of the monster. Like, look, I can make a mark on the world. I remember that part.
I think she's like just like memories of like things that she's been taught.
Oh, I see. Interesting. That was a fun story.
Very fun, yeah.
All the things these jars that tell us, it brings it to life. I'm
Which
glad.
one should we do
I'm
next?
glad. I'm going to try finish this in the meantime.
I'm going to do a couple of shout outs in my stream too, so people will know that we are with. And we also. There we go. In case you want to know who is here. Streamception. On my side, there's probably plenty of delay in the audio, but.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyways, so the other stories are all straightforward. This one is very, I guess, figurative. So.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like the little Matchbox girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember when wasn't it like she keeps the really dark version of the story is like she keeps imagining things as she's about to freeze to death.
Right. So yeah, it's pretty much like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a pretty good way of understanding it. So let's see. Let's just pick then holiday. I guess is that one on the top.
Holiday.
Sure.
Oh no! What does that chuckle mean?
Nothing.
I'm nervous though.
This is the one with the dad coming back.
Oh! Yeah, okay. I see. Have fun with this one. Oh god. Can't believe I have to listen to it a second time and draw for it. Oh, can't believe.
Should we pick a different one?
No. It's a good story. But like, steel yourselves. Prepare for the big reveal. I mean, it's not
okay.
It's like a gradual reveal, but it's very sad. Anyway,
it's very sad. Okay. How about I start this one first?
Sure.
Since he started the last one. Okay. So I think I'm starting to catch on to this reading method. How's it working for you, Cactus?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. And all right. The man. This one is also, by the way, in case you all don't know, Cactus wrote all these stories. So some people don't know that he is, besides a talented guitarist, he also writes.
Yeah.
And yeah, you used to do D&D campaigns as well,
Wait,
didn't
really?
you? Or no?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so cool.
And we haven't streamed those in a while. But
Wait, you do D&D too, Joanne?
I didn't. I would have wanted to do D&D with him, but I usually was modding at the time when he was doing D&D.
Oh.
But I used to peek in a little bit now and then.
Super
when he was
cool.
doing it. Very, very good stories in those campaigns as well.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So anyway, Cactus wrote these stories, everybody. So, just so you know. Other talents of his that we didn't know, maybe. Sometimes when I go to his Cactus stream, I redeem the storytelling one, which is cool. All right, so let's get started. This one is his. It's called Dreams Holiday. And this is my first time reading it. So I told him I didn't want to read them ahead because I wanted him to be able to everyone to be able to see my reactions to stuff reading it the first time. So the man brought his arms over his head and stretched his legs out as the heavy mechanical clunks from the train died down. Excited, chatter bubbled up, filling the cabin with festive energy. It was a long journey, but finally, everyone returned home. Passengers started to get up one by one to make the shuffle into the biting cold outside. The heat from their breaths came out in clouds that faded up into the skies. The man waited for the tide to pass. He cut an interesting figure among all the other returners. He was dressed in uniform and had all the bearings of a polished knife, sharp and unbending, yet he was holding a soft plushie in his arms. It was a raccoon, sewed together with various bits of random patchwork fabric. The stuffing was uneven and the eyes were crooked. Nevertheless, it did resemble a raccoon when viewed from the right angle. The man's gentle smile melted the ice surrounding him as he stroked the patchwork plush, lost in thought. Soon, only a few stragglers were left in the train. On the train, the man got up and left the comfort of the cabin. He was greeted by a ruthless chill, yet somehow the excitement of coming home made everything seem warm. It was the middle of winter. Lights sparkled from every tree and every storefront. People bundled in cloth and fur happily walked around the city with joy on their faces as they laughed and smiled and enjoyed the festivities. The man walked over to a sugar sculptor and asked for 2 candles. He fished out some coins for payment and watched the skilled artisan at work. The small fire heating the sugar pot brought a bit of warmth to the surroundings. Steam drifted lazily from the melted sugar as the sculptor made 2 raccoons, one big, one small. The man took them both with one hand while holding the plushie in the other. He made for the city square. The fountain in the center sparkled with rainbow lights and bits of cold and tickled the skin of anybody standing too close. The man sat on the edge of the fountain, looking around in all directions. He made a promise that they would meet here every year at this time, no matter what. No matter what happened, they had always kept their appointment without fail. He was sure that she would show up any time now and rush over with a big smile on her face as soon as she saw him. He watched all kinds of families holding hands and looking at the beautiful festival decorations. His stomach was filled with butterflies thinking about his own family. Time continued to trickle on, but the man wasn't worried. He knew that they would reunite for the holidays, as they always did. While he was waiting, the man spotted a familiar face in the crowd. They too were looking around in all directions. The man approached and put an elbow on the shoulder of his favorite relative, careful not to damage the sculpted sugar. "Uncle," the man called out.
Uncle was startled when he felt the weight on his shoulder, but seeing the raccoons dangling in front of his face and hearing the familiar, gentle voice, a smile broke out on his face. You're back. It's been too long." Uncle gave him a hug while holding back a smile.
I'm back for good this time." AI returned the hug, and they stayed in that position, letting the burdens of time dissolve into the past.
They let go of their embrace, and I brought his uncle back to the spot in front of the fountain. Uncle's eyes started misting up as he looked at the nostalgic meeting place.
"Why isn't May here with you?" I broke the silence, looking around for his daughter.
About that, she...
Oh, wait, before that, how is the climate back home? Has the ban on scholarship been lifted? I was thinking of getting back into the education now that everything is peaceful again. Is it okay to teach again?
Uncle nodded. Teaching is good. The government flipped their stance and have been driving for an infusion of scholars now that everything is settled. Teachers are at a premium.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I said with a smile. I want to give my May the best life now that I'm back. Teaching is a good job. She'll be able to talk about Dad with pride.
I
I'm thinking of using my savings to get us a house near the school once everything has settled. We can slowly build everything back up. But I want her to have a stable home first. We can work out the money later.
I
Uh, Uncle, I don't have enough. I might have to rely on you for a bit of a loan. I'm sure how much I'm not sure how much a house near the school would be, but it must be expensive.
I she's in heaven, Uncle said with a quiver.
Heaven? Is that a new school? I haven't heard of it. I'll catch up on all the latest news from the capital soon. I don't embarrass myself when I talk with the parents. Where's heaven? It sounds like a top school. Which district is it in? Well, he's kind of dense, isn't he? Oh well, okay.
Dot dot dot.
Okay, whose page is this? I think yours.
Okay.
Oh, I have to who I guess this is me or you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like this is pretty much all you, unless you want to swap
Okay.
characters.
Ah, if I knew, I would have prepared a celebration gift. Do you think these things will be good enough for her for now? I asked as he held up the plushie and two candies. The big raccoon is Dad, and the little is May. But I know she really loves these sugar sculptures, so I'll just take a bite and give both of them to her.
Dot dot dot.
Ah, this is stuffy. You don't think it's too shabby, do you? I made it from the scraps that I gathered from the front. The soldiers gave me little bits of fabric when I showed them my picture of May holding her little raccoon doll. It took us several months, but we finally managed to make this thing. And I held up the patchy raccoon. It might not be as refined as her other stuffies, but it's got character.
Character. Uncle nodded.
I pulled out his locket and stroked a photo of him and May and the raccoon. If I'm being completely honest, her other stuffy looks a lot nicer than this one. But this one offers the dad, allows the dad, shows the dad was thinking about her the whole time. And that all his friends came together to work on this gift for her. That should make up for it, right? Plus, I think the droopy eyes add some kind of unique charm that you can't find from other plush on the market.
Dot dot dot.
So, what's the new school like? Has she made friends? Is she doing well in her classes? Well, that part isn't important. I laughed with pride. Now that Dad's back, she'll have the best scholar in this capital in charge of her education.
I
I've been I've been writing letters to her every month. Did did they arrive okay? I haven't received any responses in a while. I thought that maybe the couriers weren't informed when we changed locations, so I went to ask. But they said all the other mail was delivered without fail. Dad has been worried the entire time. But if my May's in heaven, that must have been too busy for her dad, huh? I understand that new friends and new environments can take a lot of time to get used to. Was just worried.
I
Uncle, today is a perfect Uncle, today is a perfect day, is it not? The moon shines bright, clouds freely drift, snow falls gently family brings worth, I recited, but why does the day suddenly feel so cold?
That's enough now. Uncle put his hand on Ai's shoulders, eyes red with sorrow. That's enough.
I laughed and looked to the skies. It's snowing, so how can there be rain? It shouldn't be like this.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
As an imperial scholar, I needed to investigate and make a report.
I felt water run down his
Okay.
face as the world blurred around him. All sounds faded at once, and a faint ringing filled his ears. He felt pressure from his front and back as he was pulled into an embrace. He felt a wetness on his shoulder that spread through his uniform. He felt trails of water tracing a path from his eyes to his chin. I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Ai's arms fell to his side. The raccoon plushie dangled in the air, limp. The fabric where he held it was squeezed into a solid clump. The larger of the two candies fell to the ground and shattered. Happy birthday. Dad brought you a new stuffy. Why is it lumpy and weird looking? That's just the new style from the front. The patches add to the charm. Isn't that right? Of course, Dad didn't make it himself. This is an official product, okay? An official product. Do you like it? Dad's back.
Dad's back. Where are you? I looked up at the moon, at the clouds in the sky, at the snowflakes drifting down, at the bright lights sparkling in the city square, at the joy brought by times of peace, at the festival spirit and the air, at the people walking around, hand in hand, laughing, smiling, at the patchwork raccoon in his hand, at the shattered candy on the ground, at the small sugar sculpture in his other hand, at the empty place by his side where May should have been, smiling up at him. Happy birthday. Aw, cry. Everybody, exclamation point, cry.
Right! Right! What did you think, Joanne? What did you think?
Very, very sad. Very, very sad.
I felt so betrayed because I started reading this and I thought, oh, this is like so much tamer than the first story that Cactus gave me to read. This is surely a lot easier on the hearts. But no, it's a lie. I couldn't believe it.
It's so sad. Oh my goodness.
Cactus is the kind of D&D DM who like gives you a really nice NPC only to kill them in the most horrifying way to advance the plots.
You're not even wrong.
It's like the Stephen King novels.
Oh my god. New Stephen
And by the
King.
way, Cactus, excellent writing. I'm very impressed with your writing.
Yeah. Oh, I was very, very impressed. I didn't know you were hiding such talents, Cactus.
By the way, I just want to ask you your permission. My father is a writer, actually.
Oh wow.
He's actually he's been trying to publish some of his work, but he should really get an editor. But anyway, is it okay if I show him some of your work?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my
good.
gosh. Inspiration.
But,
Let me know what he thinks.
I will. He's been sick lately, so I'm not sure
no.
when he'll be able to look at it, but hopefully he'll get better soon.
Yeah.
What's going on, Emerald? Yeah. So actually, it wasn't like it was still wholesome, right? It was just sad.
Yeah.
Take-
They're all
yeah.
the stories are wholesome.
Yeah. It's not as like
I would.
it's not like as disturbing as some certain other stories. The peanut butter one. The peanut butter
Peanut
one.
butter one.
Peanut butter one. Oh my goodness, there's a disturbing peanut butter story.
Well, it involves peanut butter at one point. That's the first thing I thought of for some reason. It was a peanut butter because I noticed it the first time it got mentioned, and then it got mentioned again later. It was foreshadowing. I was like, oh.
Yeah, so we can either do the peanut butter one or a new one that you haven't read.
Oh.
Ooh.
Let's do the new one. But first, can we please see the pictures that Sniv drew while we were reading?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I was a bit slow with this one because I spent a lot of time.
Oh, this is the one you were drawing?
Oh yeah,
Or
this
you
is
had
one.
others?
This is one of them. This was the last one I was working on. It's a little heart locket, and I was thinking maybe like the shattered little bits of what is it? Raccoon candy. I've like suddenly forgotten how to draw raccoons, but okay, there's that.
Okay, that's just
And
part of the charm.
True. Those are the teardrops. And here's the scene with the fountain, right? What was the fountain?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you. Those are meant to be the little candies. I assume they were like warm orange colored like lollies or something. And here is the first shot with the close up of the little raccoon. Also the guy walking out with it in his arms. Yeah.
That's very cute.
There are a lot of very emotional scenes here, so there's a lot to choose from, but
See, Cactus, if you publish these stories, now you're going to have pictures to go with them.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Permission to use art.
Gladly. Excuse me.
Can you guys excuse me for a moment? I just want to use the little girl's room. I'll be back in a moment.
Oh,
Emerald,
yeah, sure.
Can I get up? Emerald says no. I can't
Emerald,
get up.
no, Emerald. Emerald's forcing you to stay on stream.
She says, I can't get up.
Oh.
She'll let me. Okay, I'll be right back.
The way her arms are just hooked over Joanne.
It's cat prison.
Yeah, I wish my cat let me cuddle him like that. My cat's like the kind who's like cuddly, but only he gets to cuddle you. You don't get to cuddle him. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the other way around. Ugh. Anyway, so the other two stories. So the peanut butter one is one of them.
Yeah.
And the other was the one. Was that the one about the psychopaths who run away together? Or was?
Oh no. That one won't show up here. That one's a bit too.
Oh. Okay,
it's a bit too strong.
I see. I can imagine.
Even for me, that one's a bit strong.
Even for you.
That one will never see the light of day.
Oh God. Okay. There are some things.
That one gets sent to like my friend who reads my stories. It doesn't get sent to the
Oh
public.
my God. Your horror fiction loving friends. I assume.
Yeah, but
see.
the new one is like a fairy tale style. So
Oh, cute.
it's kind of like yeah. Actually, I can just talk about the world a little bit. This
Yeah,
isn't in
yeah.
the story, so it's like it's the lore behind the story, I guess.
Lore behind the story.
So in this world of the story, basically from birth, everyone has some kind of like power or ability.
Ooh.
And so they treat it as if it's like gift from God or nature. And so everyone who has a power has been blessed by the world, and everyone kind of like reveres this kind of thing, and so like no one is missing one of these powers, except for one person who just unluckily didn't get a power, and so they kind of like are shunned, or people think that this person is like shunned by the world, like not even nature is willing to accept them, and so they're like cast away and like banished and just sent out of the kingdom basically.
That does sound very fantasy. That sounds very shonen anime.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched My Hero Academia?
I watched like 2 episodes of it or something.
Oh, okay, I see. Because I immediately think of
really
the quirk,
nice.
the protagonist who like doesn't have the quirk.
Oh yeah, so I guess it is something like that.
I'm sure Cactuses will have some kind of crazy twist in it though. Look forward to it.
No twist actually. Well, maybe there is a twist. I don't know. But it's just a cozy story.
I see.
Okay, so which one are we doing this time?
Cozy story,
Is
is
the
it?
new one?
Which one?
Not a Night.
Okay, got it.
You've seen it.
For some reason, my PDFs insist on opening in the browser, which I don't like.
No.
That's probably a setting
difficulties.
somewhere that I don't know how to fix.
Yeah.
You can like right click it and there's an open with button. And then you can choose which program you want to open it with.
It's funny because it's only giving me choices of browsers, except GIMP.
Oh. Okay.
I could open it with GIMP if I wanted.
That would be something. I wonder what
that seems a little bit. That seems like it might be a bit much. Huh? Weird. All right, I might have to like search for some sort of Adobe app or something later.
Adobe. Ah, the Adobe monopoly.
So okay, Cactus, do you want to start with this one?
Sure. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. 2 travelers walked down the dirt road. Streaks of sunlight filtered through the canopy of trees, painting the forest floor with myriad patterns. The wind blew, the shadows danced. 1,000 new shapes replaced the old. Milo stopped to watch them, amused by the show. Thunder rumbled from up ahead as a horse-drawn cart came barreling down the road at full gallop. Bits of dirt and leafy debris scattered in its wake. No coachman was driving the cart, yet, for some reason, the horse slowed its pace down to a trot, then to a walk, when it saw the youth standing in the middle of its path, lost in his own world. Milo smiled up at the horse with gentle, clear eyes and extended a hand towards it. The horse slowly approached and nuzzled its cheek against his palm. Milo looked into its eyes and patted its face a few times before taking its reins. He turned the horse around to the direction it came from and started to lead it back. Uncle Goo, Milo called out. We're leaving.
The old man grumbled out a response, and the 2 travelers, plus horse, walked onwards.
They were packed lightly and dressed in sturdy cloth like most travelers from the region. Neither of the 2 were distinct enough to stand out in a crowd, but there was something about them that always seemed to invite company. They gave off an aura of harmony that was hard to describe with words. It was as if, come sun or storm, come peace or calamity, The two of them would always be themselves, unaffected by the whims of the world. It seems there's a village up ahead. Shall we return you to your companions? Milo asked the horse as they crested the final slope. It gently blew out some air in response. Good.
Good.
Then
Oh,
let's go.
It's still
He
here.
rubbed the
Okay,
horse's
sorry.
cheek. Sorry, same character.
Yeah.
Milo watched the shadows dance and play across the forest floor as they walked. Birds flew out of the trees in droves. They approached the gate of the village and saw nothing inside. The buildings were all shuttered up, and not a person was in sight. Milo guided the horse along. I feel rude not having a name to call you by. Would you mind if I called you Horse in the meantime? Horse butted its nose against Milo's hand. How should we do this? Do you want us to go by character or by?
Yeah. Well, let's try to go by character. I'll try to keep up.
Okay, sure. I guess that's a no. Milo laughed. I suppose we'll just have to seek out your companions and learn your name from them.
Horse snorted in assent, and they kept moving. The village was like any other. It was humble, efficient, and clear that the space was well lived in. Every part looked frequently used. The stone well in center was surrounded by horses. Trotted paths branched out in every direction, tools and carts set close at the ready. A bright flash, the roar of flames, an explosion from just past the village center. The shutters on several homes twitched with curiosity. Louvers shifted up and then back down as some villagers snuck a peek inside. Milo, Goo, and Horse walked idly towards the commotion.
That's probably your companions up ahead then? Milo inquired.
Horse snorted. Boom! Another eruption shot plumes up to the firmament. I'm looking forward
to meeting them. A majestic steed such as yourself must keep great company. Milo smiled.
Horse raised his head and walked with pride. Milo laughed and patted his shoulder. Boom! A wave of heat flooded towards the trio as they left the confines of the village center. They were greeted by a large clearing. There was nothing in the area except the tree stumps, grass now charred, and several large boulders. A path formed from years of travel cut straight through the middle of the field and right up to the feet of 4 figures standing in confrontation. On one side stood a man sheltering a girl. The air around the sword was distorted by the heat radiating off it in waves. Facing them from the other side was a fully armored knight and a woman in leather, both covered in flames. They postured with the playful leisure of cats tormenting their prey. The woman swung her whip. A bolt of flames bloomed from nothing when the crack of the whip shattered the air. It shot towards the swordman fast as an arrow.
He parried the bolt off to the side, sending it flying over top one of the village homes, barely avoiding contact. The girl behind him flinched from the burst of heat, then relaxed as it faded. The swordsman shook his sword out. It was glowing faintly red. Milo, Goo, and Horse walked up in time to witness the scene. Fire Lady's eyes glimmered with a cruel light. She cracked her whip again, but this time the bolt flew directly towards the trio just arriving. Goo started to raise an arm, but Milo stopped his movement with a light touch on the elbow. The swordsman dashed over faster than the eye could see and batted the fireball away a second before it reached the trio. Fire Lady smirked and snapped her fingers. Right as the flat of the swordsman's blade made contact, the ball of flames exploded with a deafening bang. The sword flew out of the man's hands and spun through the air in a graceful arc. Time seemed to slow at that moment, as if to bear witness and pay respects. The man covered his face when the burst of flames erupted. The girl cried out in shock. The sound from the explosion echoed out into the surroundings. Another flock of birds flew out of the trees in droves. The sword hit the ground and shattered into 4 pieces. Time resumed its flow, but a deathly silence followed. The man looked at his arms, seemingly unburned despite being bathed in flames, and then at where the broken sword lay in pieces on the ground.
Oh, my friend.
Oh.
Oh, you go ahead.
Okay. Oh, my friend.
One of us is Milo.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay, actually, yeah, you can you take the swordsman.
All right. Oh, my friend, the swordman sighed. My dear friend.
He wanted to mourn, but was given no time. The woman in leather was already gathering a mass of flames in her hands several times larger than the last. The swordsman felt its heat pulsing towards him despite the distance. He stared down Fire Lady, unblinking, as the girl that was under his protection knelt down and started to gather up the pieces of broken sword with her dress. Fire Lady hurled a projectile. Uncle Goo. Milo took his hand off of the old man's elbow.
And Uncle Guru raised his arm. I'm going to try to adjust this here. Hold on. Uncle Guru raised his arm. The fireball that was flying towards them suddenly flipped directions mid-air and retraced the path directly back to the Fire Lady like a reflection off of a mirror. Her eyes widened in shock. The projectile hit her square on the right shoulder and exploded, sending her flying. She smashed into a boulder and slumped to the ground, unconscious. The knight in flames ran over to check on her, then drew his sword and stood protectively in front of his fallen companion. The swordsman walked over to Milu and Goo. He nodded a greeting to the horse, who snorted happily in response. Excuse me, kind travelers. Wait, who's this talking now?
No, that's swordsman.
Oh,
So it's you.
excuse me, kind travelers. He cupped his fist at them and bowed. It appears recent circumstances have found me lacking a sword. Strangers though we may be, I would like to humbly request if I could perchance borrow one from either of you. Milo and Goo looked at each other and laughed awkwardly.
Sir Knight, it would be my honor and privilege to witness you use this blade of mine. But, alas, Milo trailed off as he dug around in his pack. Alas, the blade is merely a dagger.
He pulled out a small polished dagger with a wooden hilt and offered it to the swordsman. Young noble, I am no knight. Nonetheless, if you are offering, then I will gladly accept and use this blade of yours. As the swordman took hold of the dagger, his entire being changed. It seemed like even the wind was split in two as it approached him. Milo smiled. Okay, go ahead.
Milo smiled and took a step back. Not a knight, huh?
Regrettably so. Still, I will fight, embarrass myself in front of the young noble and his companion. Milo said nothing and returned to Gu's side. The swordsman walked over to squarely face the knight on flames. He shouted across the distance, I may not be knighted in my own right, but even so, I would like to disgrace myself by proposing a duel. If not, if it not be beneath your dignity as a knight to fight with a common man, then I implore you to accept the challenge.
Fire Knight stood upright and pointed his sword forwards, in equal parts threat and challenge. Flames surged from his armor, as an angry metallic voice shouted out from beneath his full helm. How dare you tarnish this knight's honor? My noble family comes from an unbroken line of distinguished gentry, and I myself was personally anointed by the king of the land. You will take back your words of false claim, or you will face the punishment of death. Swordsman, huh? Milo, huh?
Oh,
Girl, polishing pieces of broken sword with her dress. Goo, horse, huh? Fire
horse will
Knight
say.
waited. Yeah. Fire Knight waited with his chest raised high, but received no response. The flames around him grew brighter and brighter. This is you.
uh, Knight of Flames, perhaps there was something you misheard during the swordsman ventured, but the knight interrupted.
I see you have no words to speak in your defense. In that case, prepare to die. With that, the knight charged over, with sword held to his middle, and the point angled forward, poste breve. The swordsman readied his stance to receive the charging knight. The gleam from his dagger caught the sun and reflected a spot of light onto the closed visor of Fire Knight's helmet. The light playfully danced, a drumming gallop from behind, the crash of steel footsteps from ahead. Fire Knight got closer, closer. 20 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet. The flames on his sword burned white hot as Fire Knight thrusted forward at the swordsman. The swordsman waited until the last second before dodging and jumping out of the way. He landed on the floor, hunched over on his knees, with both hands covering his head. A moment later, a galloping horse ran straight into Fire Knight and bulldozed him into the ground with a kick to the helmet. The flames surrounding the knight were immediately extinguished. Sizzles and acrid smoke drifted from horse's front hooves as it pawed at the ground and snorted.
The swordsman got up from his curled posture on the floor, dusted himself off, and started petting the horse, while cooing words of praise. He has sight. He has the sight, remarked.
He's a real knight, despite his words. Milo nodded.
Pulling the horse along, the swordsman scratched his head and laughed sheepishly. No, I'm not a knight. Simply a humble servant who does anything to survive. Nothing like a knight at all. Not a shred slightly to be found in these bones. Milo smiled at him.
Matter aside, let's make introductions. I'm Milo, and this is Goo, he said with a gesture. I'm curious about your companion's name. He didn't seem fond of horse.
The girl ran over with excitement. The horse's name is Pancho, and this stinky old guy is. She looked at the swordsman and hesitated.
Not a knight? Milo offered.
Yeah, not a knight. She nodded. And
Young lady?
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Pancho, not a knight, and young lady. Pleased to make your acquaintance, she said with a curtsy, the front of her dress still bundled into a pouch to hold the bits of broken sword.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. Milo bowed in return.
Seeing the commotion die down, villagers started to come out of their homes, one by one, to investigate. Who is this talking
Shall
here?
we tie up Fire Lady and Fire Knight before making camp somewhere more quiet? Milo suggested. I fear many people are soon to arrive with many questions.
Your naming sense is really. Goo muttered under his breath. Splendid idea. We'll get on the post, that post haste, said Not a Knight. He immediately fetched some rope and started tying Fire Lady to a boulder that she crashed into, then hauled Fire Knight over and did the same.
Milo walked to the center of the clearing and picked up an embroidered leather pouch from the road. He walked over to Young Lady and showed the bag to her. Her eyes widened, and she immediately snatched it out of his hands. She held the satchel close to her chest with one hand, and her bundled dress in the other.
Young lady, Not a Knight, scolded. Apologize. Young
Young
lady,
lady looked
go
like she
ahead.
had been wronged and started to tear up. Nevertheless, she mustered up an apology.
I'm sorry, young noble. She bowed her head.
It's not a problem. Milo is fine. He smiled.
Young lady walked away grumbling. You're not even a knight. Why do you care about this? It is basic human conduct to be kind, courteous, and polite. One doesn't have to be a knight to be human, Not a Knight responded. Whatever, let's go, Lady sniffed. How about we think... Oh no, who's this talking here?
That's still
It's
you,
not
yeah.
Yeah, how about we thank our new acquaintances and cook them a meal? They've helped and offered us camp. We've had more companions. We'll make travels easier, Not a Knight whispered. Cook a meal? I'm Not a
Not a
Knight
knight flicked a pebble at her.
Yeah. I'm obviously not going to ask them, she relented.
Milo and Goo were petting Poncho. The three of them pretended that they heard nothing.
Young lady walked over with her head bowed. Young, Milo, Goo, would you do the honor of joining us for a meal? We would like to thank you and show appreciation for your help.
We would be delighted to share a meal and have your company, Milo smiled. But beyond making camp in the woods, we have no destination in mind.
Fate will take us where it leads us until it no longer serves. Let us be companions. Our roads will part when fate decides as such. But we will enjoy our time together. And then Nana Knight joined in. Well said. Let's think and have a meal. Let's drink and have a meal. Goo handed Nana Knight a water skin. So whose page is this? I'm losing track.
I don't know. I think it's yours.
Okay. Nana Knight took a swig and sighed. Good wine. I knew. I
should
sensed the
probably take this one
gentleman.
because they're gonna have a conversation.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I knew I sensed the gentleman. Goo put an arm around Nada Knight's shoulder as they walked past the clearing and into the woods.
The four of them parked the horse and set up camp. Soon a small fire was crackling, and a pot was hung over the flames to boil. The old and young split off into two groups. Goo and Not a Night sat on a log and chatted by the fire. Milo and Young Lady prepared dinner on the back of the horse cart. Young Lady held her knife in a white knuckle grip while holding mangled beetroot in the other. The bowl between Milo and Young Lady was filled with chunks of chopped meat and root vegetables with varying degrees of uniformity. Half of the bowl was dictated by ordered expertise, the other half by chaos. The two chopped side by side while Pancho absently grazed in the background.
Young lady, Milo broke the silence.
What? She replied. Chop.
I simply wanted to commend your efforts, that's all. Milo smiled.
Chop. Don't distract me. Chop. I'm busy. Concentrating, chop, chop, on preparing, chop, dinner for everyone. Young lady slowly replied with gritted teeth, chop.
We're much the same, you and I. Milo tossed a handful of perfectly even vegetables into the bowl. Chop.
Young lady regarded with a cagey look. What do you mean? Chop.
Chop. How should I say this? Milo considered his words carefully. His hands never stopped moving. I know things may seem difficult now, but I promise that the journey will get better with time. You'll slowly learn the things you need to learn. Chop.
How would you know?
Chop. We're both cut from the same cloth, from different countries and different makers, but the same cloth nonetheless. Milo replied. I've just been worn longer.
Young lady contemplating the meaning behind his words.
Chop. They returned to their preparation in silence. Chop. Chop. Back at the campfire, Not a Night was occupied with casting a concerned gaze over to the pair in the horse cart every few seconds. I'm getting dizzy looking at you, Goo said.
Apologies, I just can't stop myself from being overly concerned, Not a Night replied, looking back toward the young lady again.
Don't worry, he's a kind soul and a fine teacher. He'll only be good for her to be around. Goo faintly smiled.
The girl is still young and hasn't seen enough of the world. In her stead, I apologize for any offense young lady has caused. In naivete, she means well inside, but has much learning to do in the art of expression.
The boy is just as young and has seen too much of the world. This much is nothing.
Then perhaps the two of them will be good for each other.
Perhaps. Now, stop looking. Drink.
The pair sat in silence, passing the water skin back and forth, while watching the flames dance around the logs. Tongues of orange and red licked the air. Sparks jumped into the sky and faded to ash. The fire crackled. Not a Night's eyes narrowed. I'm afraid this wine has passed straight through me. I'm headed to the woods to relieve myself. I return shortly, he said, while getting up.
Hmm.
Not a Knight walked past the tree line and sprinted to the clearing. Young lady looked over to the campfire and saw Goo sitting alone on the log. Stupid guy, leaving me alone here. What if I was in danger? She complained under her breath.
Milo laughed. As of now, the only danger is you to yourself. Focus.
Who cares about the stinky guy anyway? Young lady turned her head back to the task at hand and continued chopping. Milo glanced over at young lady's side of the bowl.
Young lady, how should I put this? Milo trailed off, still cutting in rhythm. I think learning how to use a knife would benefit you greatly.
Young lady, this is, I guess, you do this part. Young lady put her dagger down and looked over, eyes shining with excitement. You mean to fight?
Huh? No, to cook. Milo looked at her dissected beetroot. Your fingers are in grave danger as they are, and the stew has ample meat as it is, without contribution from your personal stores. His laughter chimed like bells.
Young
Young
lady's
lady's face,
Go
flushed with embarrassment, was hidden by the evening sun. I can show you if you'd like, Milo offered. Young lady nodded. She lowered her head and studied earnestly. Comfortable sounds of knives on wood filled the air. Violent, hacking cuts were soon replaced with a precision that was gaining more and more fluidity with time. Milo's knife stopped moving as he looked back to the campfire. You two care for each other a lot, he said.
She nodded. The two
finished preparing dinner in warm silence. Goo looked at the dagger tucked into Not a Knight's belt as the swordsman walked past the trees and back into the campsite. Did you tie up your loose ends? Goo asked.
Not a Knight followed Goo's gaze and looked down. 2 strings of leather tangled. Oh, that was your part. Oh, well. I apologize. Your part. Okay.
Not a Knight followed Goo's gaze and looked down. 2 strings of leather dangled from the front of his pants.
I apologize for this unsightly display. As I've been saying, I'm no knight. Not a Knight quickly fixed the drawstrings on his pants and adjusted his belt. I just do whatever it takes to survive.
Goo nodded, satisfied with the answer. Give the boy his dagger back when it's time for dinner. Time passed. The campfire cast long, dancing shadows in all directions. A dangling pot bubbled above it. Wisps of fragrant steam drifted through the air as the aroma of spiced stew spread across the camp.
Okay, so this will be my page, I guess.
Mhm.
And let's keep our same characters, I guess.
Sure.
Okay, Milo ladled a scoop of stew into a bowl and offered it to Not a Knight.
Give this a try. It was made by a young lady.
Why are there so many beets in it? Not a Knight asked, poking around the stew with a spoon. Don't eat it if you don't want it, young lady snapped. I never said that. Not a Knight scooped up a spoonful of stew and paused. Young lady, just to make sure, you enjoy traveling together, right? What kind of question is that? Not a Knight looked at his spoon with skepticism. Before I eat this, I simply wanted to make sure you weren't tired of me. If you were, just know that poison is a poor option. Oh my God. The others still need to eat, and it would be ungrateful to deprive them of that joy. You're so stupid. Just eat it, don't, young lady yelled at him then pouted. Not a Night blew on the spoon and brought it to his mouth. Under everyone's gaze, he took the first bite. He chewed and swallowed. Young Lady looked over at him expectantly. Young Lady, he said. She held her breath and waited for the verdict. It's very good. You did a great job. Not a Night stood up and gave her a pat on the head before taking a seat and finishing the bowl. The girl found the plate on the log, sat with her head down, hiding a pleased expression. Everybody around the campfire smiled. What? You want to get down? Excuse me, somebody wants to. Go ahead. She probably wants to go sit in the sun. All right. The girl found a place on the log and sat with her head down and all right, I did. Everybody around the campfire smiled. The flames and the last remaining light of dusk dyed the scene in warm orange hues. Milo served Goo, then Young Lady, then himself.
Nobody spoke. Even with nothing but the sounds from the campfire and the clacks of spoons against bowls, the atmosphere was one of perfect contentment. The meal ended in that manner. Wildlife and insects of the night began their evening song. Not a Night stood up to return Milo's dagger back to him.
Thank you for lending me your blade. Although it did not seem much use, it certainly served its purpose, and that is what matters most. Not a Night bowed and offered the dagger to Milo with both hands.
Milo took the dagger and turned it around in his hands, looking at the blade curiously. After a while, he wiped his hand over the flat of the blade and put it away. He looked Not a Night in the eyes and smiled. His gaze was clear as ice. Thank you, Not a Night. You've worked hard where none could see, Milo said with a nod of appreciation. Not a Night felt his heart jump a beat. Goo slapped his shoulder. Don't think too much.
Oh, go ahead.
Come,
Sorry.
let's clean. Can't have the kids do everything. The party of four tidied up and made for bed. Milo and Goo unrolled their mats and laid them on the ground to sleep. Young Lady and Not a Night got onto the back of the horse cart and curled up for the night. A moment later, the cart bent and creaked. Thump. Young Lady jumped onto the ground and walked up to the pair lying on the floor. She slowly peered over at them to see if their eyes were open.
Milo, Goo, she whispered.
Yes, Young Lady, Milo responded.
Would you two like to join us on the cart? It's warmer and softer than the ground, and we would enjoy the extra company. Milo and
Goo looked at each other and smiled. We would be delighted, Young Lady. Thank you for the offer.
And there we go. Very nice story. Sorry I kept getting confused about who was doing what.
Oh, that was sweet. That was actually so cute. What?
Yeah, I said this one was. They're all wholesome. I'm glad you're finally seeing it.
I was expecting a twist somewhere.
Yeah, like I was thinking that at the last moment she stabs them or something.
Oh my god.
What? Why
her hand slips and she accidentally murders everyone. She poisoned the soup.
Well, she seems like a nice person. She just has a little bit of a chip on her shoulder, as they say. Very good story. It just seemed like it seemed sort of like a D&D campaign.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. It felt like, you know, just a game.
Like we were doing an RPG here. A little bit.
We are a little RPG.
Let's see your pictures.
Oh, I haven't.
Please.
Oh yes, of course. I haven't finished. This is what I was just drawing of like the last scene where they were like sleeping. This is one of them with like a blanket, and that's like the straw. That's the straw over there. And that's young lady bending over the cart. This is the horse cart. Whoop. Excuse me.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the cart. And they're sleeping here. This is their mattress, and then they got like a. I assume they have like a campfire or something.
Yeah. I thought that was so neat that like she thought she was learning how to use the blade to fight, and he's more like saying, well, why don't you use it to learn how to actually chop vegetables the proper way. That was when I started understanding, like, okay, you know, why was half the pot in chaos and half neat? It was because she really didn't know how to chop.
Oh my gosh. It's a slice of life at the end. I can't believe.
It really was.
Yeah, anyway. There's this. Wait, oh. Okay, this is like the shade. Okay. I'll leave it for now. And then this is when they're cutting vegetables. They're cutting vegetables for the show.
Very good.
And then this person's like concerned, and then this is not a night, and he's like, yeah, you're doing well. Good job. And this is the horse. Traveling over the fire sword guy. And they have epic horse moment.
That's perfect.
This is when the fire lady gets hit by the fireball. That was it. Like they reflected it back at her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
That was very, very well done.
Yeah, I got a whole fantasy fight scene. That was very cool. And this is when they first find.
Oh,
I didn't quite catch all of what was happening here. I think I missed some things while I was focusing, but I did hear stuff about fire, and then like a fire whip was there at some point, and then like the fire sword.
Yeah, that's really good.
What? Okay. Who was the person who was like, what were they whipping again? Was it a horse or was it like a person?
The person, basically.
Okay, good. Alright. Okay. And this is the very beginning where this person finds a horse and they're just traveling together through the woods.
I really like it.
Yay! I really enjoyed that story. That was very nice. Very fantasy.
Yeah, like I said, I felt like we were sort of doing a D&D campaign.
Oh, this on a little adventure. It was so cute, and
yeah.
I really like the different moments between all the different characters. The little clips they have, and the funny names that they keep getting given by that one person.
Yeah.
Was it not a knight? Is he the one who gave the names, or was it?
No, Milo's the one that gives the stupid names.
Right.
Yeah, so he named like Fire Lady, Fire Knight, Horse, Not a Knight, Young Lady.
They're just not gonna complain at this point.
So that's why because like him and Goo are like long time traveling. Like that moment where like Goo like complains like, man, like these names like always why.
That also sounds like a moment that would happen in a D&D campaign, honestly. Somebody gives their character like the stupidest name. I had a chicken once called Moldy.
Well, that's one of the things that I noticed about, Cactus D&D campaigns is that, like, I had played D&D with my 2 sons, and what I found with them is all they do is they have fight scenes, and there's very, very little story. It's just
Ah,
one fight scene to
oh
the next,
yeah,
and, they don't have that much,
right.
um, but then, like, story aspect to it, except for Bob the Wizard or whatever, it's always Bob the Wizard.
I think like I think the story and like the role playing aspect is the most fun part of it, at least for me.
Yeah.
But it's also like kind of the hardest to do, right? Because it's like it's not just like putting enemies there that like are the appropriate level. After actually like you have to think things out and like oh how the player's gonna react. That's a lot to plan.
I think that's like the funnest part of D&D because like it's what makes it like a collaborative storytelling thing, right? Everyone like role playing their characters, and you have things that you can't predict because it's a bunch of other people who are taking part in the story.
I see.
Yeah, I remember one time my parents were saying to me they didn't think it was very wholesome for my 2 sons to play D&D.
Wholesome. Oh,
And
really?
and that was because they never played it, and all they saw were, like, the pictures in the books. And yeah, okay, some of the monsters look kind of demonic and stuff, but it's like, if you don't know anything about something, it doesn't seem fair to say, "Oh, this is not right," good for the person.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, I guess. I imagine a lot of like overprotective parents or whatnot will misunderstand things because there's like they see a bit of violence or something. They're like, no, it is this, not in my good Christian household.
So how do you guys feel? Do you feel like doing any more, or do you, Sniv, it's pretty late for you now, so what do you think?
Oh yeah, speaking of
Oh.
good Christian households, the next story.
I'm happy to do because there were 4 stories in total, right? Oh, the last one is the other one that is it the other one that I
It's the
put?
peanut butter
Peanut
one,
butter.
yeah. The
Wait.
Oh,
wholesome
then
Christian
we need
peanut
you to
butter.
um.
I'm feeling very comfy with this because, like, now that I'm seeing what the stories are like, I'm like, "Yeah, these are fine," you know?
Um.
Right.
Uh-oh.
About that.
I'm gonna change my mind about that now.
Perhaps.
Well,
Perhaps.
perhaps.
Might have
She
been
doesn't know.
saving the best for last. The best.
Oh, dear. I'm not scared. Should I be?
No, of course not. It's wholesome.
Alright, which one is it?
Notebook.
Notebook. Ooh, that's it's like Death Note. Most famous words. Oh, remember me when I'm gone.
Okay, I have it.
Okay, I can take the main character. They have a lot of dialogue.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna make it the font a little bigger on mine.
Okay.
Well, actually, maybe for this one, it might make more sense to have so like it splits in between main character and journal entry. So maybe if you want to take the journal entries, I can take the main character, and then it's pretty
That
equal
sounds
split for
fair.
dialogue.
Yeah, let's try it that way.
Okay.
You know the story, so yeah, let's do it that way.
Okay. I lost it. A hint of panic crept into my voice as I thought about someone reading my missing journal entry. A page from my notebook fell out. Have any of you seen it? You all know how my notebook looks, right? I looked around at my friends and shook my journal at them. Beige paper, lines on the page, my handwriting on it, little squiggle design that runs through the top, little doodles in the margin, fun tips of the day, those kinds of things. You've all seen it before. Why am I describing it to you? I trailed off, seeing my friends all look away from me one by one. My hand stopped moving, and the pages flapping in the wind quieted down as despair settled in. My heart lurched into my stomach, and I felt like throwing up. My friend took a breath to speak, and I looked at him full of hope.
Sorry, can I help you?
Only to have it cruelly extinguished. It's okay. It wasn't your fault. I'll keep looking for it. Please let me know if you find or hear anything, I said with a sad smile.
Yeah. He gave me a look and walked away.
As if getting permission to leave, all of my other friends turned around and started heading out as well. None of them looked at me or said anything before they left. I assumed they must have felt sad on my behalf, not even willing to make eye contact for fear of triggering another spark of hope. They're really considerate. I'll have to thank them for the concern later and write them an entry in my journal. My journal. Why did I think about that? I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Where's my journal? I want to throw up. I want to die. Where's that page? I stood alone in front of the school courtyard after everyone left. The evening sun dyed the pavement orange. Faint sounds of excitement from the sports field were carried over on the wind. The chains in the playground clanked against each other. A gentle breeze blew across the hair, covering my downcast face. I'm gonna throw up. I held in the sickeningly sweet nausea that threatened to overflow and started retracing my steps. Now, you might ask why a single missing page is such an important thing to me. Rationally, of course, I know that this looks to be blown out of proportion. But to me, this notebook is my life.
For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a journalist. As soon as I learned how to write, I started noting down the things that happened throughout the day. So how about it if I just read the word parts instead of like all the times and stuff, or are the times important?
The times are important, yeah.
Okay. 0800. Mommy made breakfast before it was pancake. It was pancakes, my favorite. I tried to eat them, but they were a little black and bitter, so asked for sauce. She was busy on the phone and got mad at me. 8:45. We walked to school and I saw a cute doggy behind the fence. I walked over to pet it, but my hand was being held, so I couldn't reach it. Mommy gave me a look. What silly thing are you getting into now? And pulled me back to the middle of the sidewalk. 9:15. Arrived at school. 15 minutes to play before classes start. I wonder if I'll make it any new friends today. 10 o'clock. I made a friend, Sarah. My new friend asked me to play before class today, and it made me so happy. I can't wait for lunchtime to play again. 11:50. Almost lunch. 12:30. I went to Sarah to play, but she said her friends didn't want to play with me. We were morning friends, not lunch friends. I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning. 1400. I've been smiling and looking over at Sarah during our classes whenever her eyes drift in my direction. Maybe we can be afternoon friends too. 1500. School is over. Time to wait for Mommy. 15:45. Mommy 15 minutes late. I wonder if she's okay. 16:30. The teacher came over to ask if everything was all right and if somebody was coming to get me. I told her that Mommy was coming soon, so everything would be okay. The teacher gave me a smile and a pad and went home. 17:15, Mommy is still not here. 18:45, Daddy showed up. I get to ride home instead of walking. Yay. 1900, we walked in the door and Daddy helped me take my shoes off. He told me to go upstairs and play and that he'll call for dinner soon. 1915, I was playing by myself and filling my notebook, but it's hard to concentrate with all the yelling downstairs. They keep shouting words I don't know, and it doesn't sound good at all. 2000, I'm getting really hungry. 2100, it's bedtime, but nobody came to tuck me in. I guess I'll brush my teeth by myself. I think they'll be proud of me when I tell them in the morning. I'm really hungry though. 21:30, bedtime. Today was a good day. I can't wait to play with my new morning friend tomorrow. 2300, I heard a crash downstairs. They're still yelling. I hope everything is all right, but I'm too afraid to go down and check. I don't want Mommy and Daddy to yell at me for staying up too late. 0035, the front door slammed and I heard a car driving off. I'm really sleepy though. Back to bed. 0800, pancakes with strawberries this time, my favorite.
And so on and so on. Anyways, on the morning of that day, my mom made breakfast and walked me to school as usual. It was Dad's turn, but it seemed like they got into a fight and he left. Oh, and Sarah didn't play with me that morning either. Her friend said, "That girl's weird, don't play with her." And that was all it took. So, in the end, the promise of being morning friends never came to be. I continued retracing my steps back to the classroom while lost in nostalgia. The relationship between my parents continued to deteriorate. As it happens, Sarah's relationship with her friends also started going sour shortly after. One day in particular stood out as the end of everything.
0800, Mommy made pancakes again. Lucky. 810, Mommy keeps opening and closing cupboards, so I offered to help her look for things. She said the peanut butter went missing again. 0830, we couldn't find the peanut butter, and Mommy got really sorry and said that I'd have to just a strawberry sandwich today. I like strawberries, so it's okay. 8:45. We walk to school and I stay in the middle of the sidewalk and don't wander off to the doggy even though it's so cute. We arrived at school and I asked Mommy, 9:15. We walked to school and I asked Mommy if we can play together outside before class starts. She says she has to go to work and I should play with my friends inside. 09:30, I wander around outside until it's class time and arrive just before the bell rings. 1200, nothing interesting happens. 12:30, big scoop. Susie got attacked by a peanut and her face turned all red. All the teachers ran over and then the word hospital scratched out. Ambulance came to take her away. 1300, Sarah got into a lot of trouble for putting peanut butter in Susie's food. Her friends are all mad at, and the teachers yelled at her too. It was really bad. 1330. The teachers found a jar of peanut butter in Sarah's backpack, and she got even more trouble. I was a bit upset because at class got interrupted. 1400. Classes today are really messy with all the things happening. The teachers are saying No more peanuts from now on. Maybe Mommy will rush less in the morning and more strawberries for me. 1500. School finished for the day. We didn't really learn anything. Adults kept coming in and out of the class, and Sarah was crying and the whole time. Nobody likes to talk to her anymore. It was really mean, but she did. 1530. Mommy is on time and we walk home. 1600. We get home and I tell Mommy everything that happens today. She frowns a bit when I tell her about the peanuts. Daddy come at 1830. Daddy comes home. Well, when we're eating, Mommy tells me to finish eating and to go upstairs and play. 1900. Mommy and Daddy are yelling down a lot downstairs. They're screaming about peanut butter and a lot of things I don't understand. I hide under my pillow. The yelling finally stops. 2100. Mommy comes to tuck me in and pats my hair. I didn't brush my teeth yet, but she said it's okay for one day and to just sleep. I'm comfortable.
Thinking back on it, it's impressive how many relationships were destroyed by a jar of peanut butter. I kept making my way through the school. I checked my locker, and there were no signs of my missing page, so I kept heading to the classroom. Along the way, I walked past Soren's locker and paused for a moment. This was another person with an interesting story. We had a field trip in the beginning of March. The entire class was going to go on a weekend trip to a retreat in the mountains. The whole thing cost about $100, food, lodging, and transport included. Most of us were able to ask our parents to sign the forms and fill in the checks, but Soren's family was having some troubles. I noticed that he was hesitant whenever people asked if he was going to the field trip, so I decided to do a bit of fundraising on his behalf. I started asking for some change from everyone I met in school and around town, and most people were happy enough to spare $1 for a cute, earnest, well-dressed student such as myself doing charity. It didn't take long to collect all the funds, and I was excited to do a good deed for one of my classmates. If he was happy, maybe we could even turn this into an opportunity to become friends. So, a few days before the deadline, I handed him an envelope filled with the field trip money, and we chatted for a bit. We hadn't really talked much before this, so it was a bit awkward at first, but we slowly got to know each other as time went on. Our friends in class poked fun and made snide comments to push us apart, as one does whenever a boy and a girl talk to each other. But I was just happy to have made a friend. After learning about his family situation, I tried to do my best to be accommodating when it came to food and money. I brought extra portions when I could, and I tried to lend a hand whenever school fees were due. I thought I was doing a nice thing, but he seemed to get more annoyed and distant as time went on. I chalked it up to stress at home and kept on with my charitable deeds. If I were in that situation, I would appreciate it if somebody helped me to reduce the burden of poverty. So I assumed that he would feel the same. The situation only continued to deteriorate, though. One day, I followed him after classes were over to try and find out what was going on. He wasn't replying to my messages, so I figured that if I could understand his circumstances better, then we could go back to being friends as usual. I watched him go to the store and buy some groceries. He picked up a call from somebody as he was leaving. He was smiling while chatting, so I thought that since he's in a good mood, this would be the perfect moment to try and reconnect. Once his call was over, I sent him a text. He looked at his phone, swiped, and put it in his pocket. Should I keep going or do you want to switch?
I can switch if you want. I thought I was supposed to read the journal, but it's been a while
that
for
was
you.
the last
So.
journal entry, so.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, thanks. Okay, that wasn't what I was expecting. I sent another message, and another. He frowned and turned his phone silent. Why? Why? Why, you were in a good mood. You were on the phone. I saw. Why didn't you reply? I kept following him. Surely something was wrong. And that's why he didn't reply. Maybe there was a family emergency that he saw that took up all his mental space and just didn't see my messages. So I tailed him back to his home to check. He went through the front doors and there were no issues. I waited. Still nothing happened. Through the window I saw that he was laughing with his family playing games and tapping away on his phone every once in a while. I sent another message. It was ignored. He was talking to someone, but it wasn't me. Feeling incensed, I went back home and wrote in my notebook, as it happens. That was the exact page that went missing. I really don't want people to think I'm weird, so I hope I can find it before anyone reads about it, what I did that day. Back to the presents. I undid the lock and checked inside Soren's locker. Nothing. My desk in the classroom had no clues to where my mission page could be. None of my other classmates' desks had anything in them either. I made my way outside and started walking toward the fields. Anyways, back to Soren. One thing led to another, and I stopped associating with him or trying to help with any little bits of charity. It might be cruel to say, but it gave me some small measure of satisfaction to see his life start spiraling downhill. He started becoming flighty, always looking around furtively before doing anything. His complexion became pale, his eyes grew dark and baggy, his hair unkempt, clothes unwashed. Such disregard for hygiene and appearance. So I'll let you do this one.
Okay. Such disregard for hygiene and appearance turned him into something of a social pariah. His other friends were concerned at first, but he kept pushing the people around him away in bouts of paranoia. Eventually, he was left alone. Just desserts, I would say. He started missing more and more classes. People were concerned at first, but when the truancy started becoming a habit, most people just gave up on him and went on with their lives. It's a pity that such a good kid turned bad, but let that be a lesson to not fall in with the wrong crowd. Parents and teachers would use him as an example for how things could so easily turn rotten. Soren hasn't been at school for a couple days now, but because of his recent behavior, not many people are concerned about his whereabouts, which is a pity. I walked past the fields and into the storage shed behind a copse of trees. The custodian checks this place once a week, only on Mondays, and often forgets to do the locks up properly. It's pretty negligent, but it's also not as if the shed really needs to be maintained to any degree of cleanliness. I unfastened the lock and walked in. The rusted hinges cried their song of neglect. I flicked the lights on, and an ambient hum filled the room. My nose wrinkled from the ungodly mixture of ammonia, gasoline, dried grass, and body odor that assaulted my senses. I closed the door behind me, bolted the deadlock, and went further inside the shed. I pulled the string dangling from the ceiling and turned on another set of lights. A cold, fluorescent glow filled the room, accompanied by a slight buzzing. At the far end of the shed, there was a dirty table with several garden tools on it. I walked over and touched the shears. Pointy. I kept walking. I kept exploring the depths of the shed, looking for my missing page. Lawnmower, auger, edger, trimmer, sprayer, pruner, rake, scythe. But no notebook entry. I heard a muffled noise from beside the table, but ignored it, and continued running my fingers across the tool-filled shelves. Scissors, secateurs, hedge trimmers, grass shears, pruning saw. I paused with interest and let my finger trace the edge of the blade, feeling for sharpness. A bit rusty. Another muffled thump. Looking ahead at the rest of the shelves, they seemed to be filled with boring tools for watering and sweeping. I decided it wasn't worth my time checking any further. In the end, I settled on the grass shears as the most interesting object in the shed. I picked them up and walked back to the table.
Okay, I guess I take over from here, Cactus.
Sure.
Okay, give you a break. All right. First of all, just in my chat, I have a friend, the Keymaker Music. I don't know if you know him, but he is one of my online family members.
Oh,
We
cool.
call each other, he calls me sis. So he is my online brother. So if you are not following him, he is a music producer. Keys, the amazing Keys.
Hi, Keys! Hope you
So I just wanted to greet
enjoying
him.
it.
Let you know that the Keymaker Music is here. All right.
Yay!
All right. I saw that a beige piece of paper was left lying on the floor. There was a footprint and some stairs on it. I recognize the familiar handwriting and the squiggle design at the top. Some part of me understood that this was my missing notebook entry. Thump. I looked up from the page and saw a pair of legs tied to a chair. These too looked familiar. Dirty grease-stained pants. White shirt, yellowed with wear. Another set of ropes binding the arms and torso. I'm getting scared now. Long unwashed hair splayed across an oily unwashed face. Soren looked up with panicked eyes, and I idly picked my page up from the floor. Good afternoon.
I
Oh, go
replied
ahead.
while caressing the shears.
I put the page on the table and stood in front of him.
Have you thought more about what I said last time? Have you reconsidered? We both know what the best possible outcome is out of this scenario, right? Oh, how rude of me. This isn't very fair to you, is it?
I brought the shears up to his face and traced a line with the back of the blade from the corner of his eye to his mouth. Stay still now.
Stay still now.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay.
He nodded with the barest twitch of his head, eyes wide open. I propped the blade of the shears into the gap between his skin and the tape sealing his mouth. Once peeling away enough of material for a hand hold, I ripped the tape off in one go. As a courtesy, I also stuck the shears into his mouth and used the blades to pull the oil rag that was stuffed in there. I rubbed my dirty fingers onto his shirt and went back to the topic at hand.
So, have you reconsidered? At this point, dying would be a mercy to everyone involved. Do you know what day it is today? It's a Wednesday. If you're holding out onto any hope of being discovered, just forget about it. The custodian will come here to check in 5 days, but by then, you'll be long gone. Crushed by a falling shelf after sneaking into the shed, death by dehydration after being trapped, unable to move or scream for help. It's a pity that such a good boy to have turned to this kind of life. His new friends were such a bad influence. They even got him killed in the end. I fingered the grass shears absent-mindedly. You might as well just make it painless for yourself. It's the least you could do.
Soren looked at me and croaked, "You're insane."
I tilted my head to one side. Insane? No, I'm not. Why would you say that? I'm a good girl. Well-behaved, studious, good appearance, good habits, good hygiene, good standing. Who in their right mind would call that insane?
No way you keep that up. If I die, the police will put the clues together and you'll be exposed. You'll end up even worse off than me.
I smiled gently at him. Worse off? I don't think so. No matter what, at least I'll be alive, and my family will be doing well. I left the rest unsaid. Soren thrashed against the ropes and rocked his chair back and forth while making noises unfit for humans. I stabilized the chair and waited for him to finish his tantrum. It took a while. I pulled my phone out and checked the time. It's getting late, so I'll give you a few minutes to make your choice again. Do you want me to torment your family for another day while you suffer in this shed, starving, thirsty, left imagining how their situation continues to worsen each moment that goes by? Or will you pick option B? Anyway, I need to go make a call. Please be decided by the time I get back. He glared at me as I carefully placed the grass shears on the table beside him and walked out of the shed. A few moments went by and I finished my call. I walked into the shed and saw that the light in Soren's eyes had changed. Have you made your choice then?
Soren gritted his teeth. "I'll do it. Give me the knife."
I nodded at him. I respect your decision. I'm glad you finally decided to take the easy way out. Put on a good show.
Whatever. Just leave my family alone and stop terrorizing our home.
Rest assured, you don't need to worry about them anymore.
I walked over slowly. Go ahead.
Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
But we'll read. You be. I guess I'll be Soren and you be
Sure.
the main character. Okay. I walked over slowly, started untying the ropes, binding his right hand.
You're not going to do anything funny after I untie these, right? We have a deal, right? I sang in a playful voice.
He nodded, looked compliant. I continued undoing the knots. When Soren's right hand was finally freed, he made a quick motion and I immediately jumped back. He continued waving his forearm up and down while flexing his fingers. Circulation? Oh, that's your part.
Nope.
Oh, circulation? Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. He held his palm out in a gesture of peace. Harmless, see? I looked at him with distrust. Didn't move to undo the rest of his ropes. He continued. At this point, with one arm free, I'll get out of these ropes eventually. You might as well just get things over with and let me out. I'll keep my end of the deal, I promise. Begrudgingly, I agreed and untied the binding around his upper arm. Okay now, knife? He urged. I gauged his expression for signs of danger before walking over to the table and grabbing the shears.
You know what to do, right?
Go ahead, sorry. Yes.
No funny
go ahead.
business, or I'll never let your family off. Also, I sent my parents a message saying that if I don't come back on time, then you're the prime suspect. So just keep your end of the deal, and everything will be fine.
Got it, he nodded.
All right. I put the shears in his hand and backed away quickly. I stood by the shelves and watched with interest to see what he would do.
Soren hesitated for a moment and then brought the shears over to his left wrist. He opened the blade and brought it right up to the vein. I watched him with bated breath. You go ahead, Cactus.
Okay, sure. Then suddenly, he wedged the blade into the ropes binding his left arm and started freeing himself. He cut through the ropes one by one as I watched on in shock. I screamed and started tipping the shelves over in a panic as I rushed over to the door. I tried to open it, but it was locked. I fumbled with the deadbolt, but it wasn't budging. I looked back and saw that Soren had freed both arms and his torso and was working on the ropes binding his legs. Come on, come on! My heart was racing, and I tried with all my might to open the lock. Both of Soren's legs were free, and he started making his way over, a menacing glint in his eye. The shelves and debris on the floor slowed him down, but he was getting closer, closer. I finally managed to get the deadbolt unstuck, right as Soren reached me. I shrieked in pure horror as I saw the blade slashing towards me. I ducked out of the way, but still got grazed on the shoulder. Screaming, I flung the door open and started to run. Soren chased after me, shears in hand. He swung at me again, and I felt a burst of warmth across my back. I ran harder and harder, not even looking where I was going, until I burst through the trees and onto the field. I vaguely remember flashing lights, a man's voice shouting, and a loud bang. Everything after that was a blur. I sat in a daze as several people asked me questions, and I numbly replied the best I could. I hardly remember a thing that was said. The thing I remember most strongly was the looks of pity and sympathy coming from the adults, and the undisguised terror from my classmates. Or at least that's how the story looked from the outside. See, I learned from an early age that appearance and behavior are everything. If you're well-groomed and charismatic, you can get away with a lot of things by default. When an unsightly incident occurs, nobody casts their first look at the pampered princess for blame. They look for the unsightly, the outcasts, the unusual. Because ugly incidents are caused by ugly people with ugly behavior, obviously. Therefore, it's in your best interest to present well, at least on the outside. Your appearance is your shield, your first line of defense against accusations. I've always been quiet, timid, and obedient, so who would ever suspect that a cute and harmless child could do something bad? Anyone else might be a suspect, but not me. Her? She doesn't have in her. Next. I have to thank
Okay,
my
I'll take
parents
this
for
page.
raising me into a good girl.
Okay.
My shield was thick from the start.
Okay, so then I'll read this part from below. So he said, I'm sorry that I interrupted. I have to thank my parents for raising me into a good girl. My shield was thick from the start. Poor Sarah. She didn't do it. You know, she doesn't even like peanut butter. But who else could it have been? If not her, certainly not me. My father, always late, always irresponsible. It wasn't fair to Mommy. It wasn't fair to me. Good riddance, that he's gone. But how could such a thing happen so suddenly?
Well, small incidents upon small incidents, nothing major, but the accumulation of slight grievances over time eventually led to an explosion.
It's just one of those things. Nobody's fault, really. Yep, nobody's fault. Certainly not mine. And so on. Everyone who snubbed me eventually got their retribution. It might have been God's will, perhaps. it was karmic justice, but it certainly wasn't me. Someone like me wasn't capable of something like that. By the time I got to high school, an interesting divide occurred. The kids who knew me called me, cursed, and told everyone to stay away from me. That nobody who became my friend ever had a good outcome. That was quite a mean thing to say, and of course, categorically untrue. Rather, nobody who stopped being my friend ever had a good outcome. Anyways, there were rumors about that spread among the students, but they were somehow a bit hard to believe. I'm such a good student after all, always minding my own business, never getting into trouble. Clean, presentable, well mannered. The adults felt that I was just a poor girl, getting bullied and ostracized for no reason. They tried to do right by me, and I really appreciated their pity and concern, being the good books of authority figures. Oh, the good books of authority figures always has a way of working wonders. When several students tried to report me for things I had certainly didn't do, the teachers were on my side because I had a history of being bullied by classmates. These accusations were just filed away as another form of harassment against an innocent, lovable girl. The staff became more protective and the students became more fearful. The misunderstandings grew and made me immune to fault. As long as I wasn't caught, I could do anything. Thank you, authorities. My notebook arrived as the next biggest shield. My notebook served as the next biggest shield. I faithfully recorded the happenings of every single day for the last 10 years, and as it happens, this makes a pretty good alibi. I was especially careful to write down all the verifiable pieces of information with accurate timestamps. Oh my goodness. Okay, go ahead, Cactus.
Conversations, sign-ins, purchases, anything that could be tracked had to be perfect. But the things in between, some leeway could be made for embellishment. Who would doubt a small divergence from the truth when everything that could be verified was verified? Especially from the notebook of a good girl who had built up a long-standing reputation for religiously writing events down accurately as they happened. Total immunity. So that's me. Let's talk about what really happened with Soren. A month ago, Soren started growing distant, and it made me feel uncomfortable. I didn't understand where things started going wrong. I sent him dozens of messages per day, but he stopped replying to them after a while. I thought they were pretty normal things to talk about with friends. When's your birthday? How many siblings do you have? What's your favorite color? When do you normally go to bed? Who do you like to listen to? What's your favorite subject? Are you okay? Why aren't you replying? What do you want for lunch tomorrow? Are there any foods you dislike? What's your favorite vegetable? Haven't heard from you in a while. Is everything okay? I'll bring lunch for you tomorrow. We'll talk then. Good night. Good morning. Made your favorite today. And so on. All very normal things. But for some reason, he didn't respond at all. I was convinced that he wouldn't ignore me on purpose. There must have been something going on in his life. So, like I mentioned earlier, I followed him home and saw that he was purposely ignoring me. And that really made me upset. So I did what any normal person would do, and I broke into his house that night. You won't find this in any notebook entry. The first thing I did was tamper with the water main. What first comes to mind when you think of poverty? Dirty, smelly, unwashed. I just helped make the stereotype into a reality. Clothes started to accumulate some funk, and basic hygiene was definitely off the menu for a few days. They resorted to going to the community center for showers as an emergency measure. And that was pretty unsightly. I could feel their embarrassment just watching them walk out of their van with faces averted. Wouldn't want to be caught representing the stereotype.
Okay, so I should continue from here?
Sure.
All right. They eventually hired a plumber to fix things. That must have cost a lot. I could see the stress on his mom's face when he flipped through the receipts. When she flipped through the receipts and tried to calculate their monthly finances, but the water fixed. Congratulations! Then I broke in again and trashed the pipes. Fixing that must have cost another chunk of change that they didn't have. I wonder if they skipped out on rent or meals. Maybe took a cash advance, credit card lag, or oh well, not my problem. Soren came to me begging for me to stop, but I ignored him, just like he ignored me. What's that? This. Now you get to now you want to talk? Too late. Why are you asking me? It's not like I did it. Someone like me isn't capable of something like that. I mean, just look at me. Maybe your mom took out a loan from a shark she couldn't repay and they're getting revenge. That's what happens in the dramas, right? Now leave me alone, you reek. The torment of home continued in other forms. Small leaks here, bits of damage there, lost goods, threats sent, food dumped, random alarms at night. The list goes on. Soren's family was being haunted by some kind of malevolent and mischievous entity, but it's not like they could have afforded a camera to catch it in action. I made sure of that. Soren's physical and mental health rapidly declined, but he couldn't talk to anybody about it. One of the threats clearly said that if he mentioned his trouble to anybody, then his entire family would start going missing, one by one. Wouldn't want that. One day, he tried to talk about it with a friend, but I saw him. Apparently, he also saw me because he immediately clammed up and pushed his friend away, saying, "Never mind, just forget it." His friend might have forgotten about it, but I didn't. His dog disappeared that weekend, and a new threat appeared under his pillow. He was more obedient after that. From that day onward, Soren started doing what I said, but it was already too late. I was done with him. Any positive feelings I had for him were stripped away after he ignored me and made me upset. Besides, even if we continued to be friends, I couldn't be much of a friendship if I had to resort to coercion to achieve it, right? There's no takesy. Besides, with this kind of thing, the dynamic had already gotten itself messed up. It wasn't going to If he wasn't going to have regrets about it later, he shouldn't have done anything like that in the first place. Anyways, that's the last of Soren's last month. Let's go back to a few hours ago.
After leaving him tied to the chair to contemplate, I made a call to the police. I was crying and told them that I was being held captive in the shed at the back of my school. I feared for my life and was worried that Soren would resort to violence if I didn't do what he said. I dropped my phone and cut the call off mid-sentence. I took my uniform off and undid the ropes that I tied around myself that morning. I was relieved to finally free my arms, legs, and chest from their binding. It was tight and painful all day. They definitely left a mark. On the contrary, the ropes around Soren was not. They were over his clothes, firm enough to restrain, but soft enough to leave no trace. I hid the ropes in my bag. I got dressed, waited a few moments for the police to arrive, and walked back into the shed to torment Soren. The rest you already know. After neutralizing and restraining the crazed, blade-wielding Soren, the police found my missing notebook entry in the shed. The original words from that day were erased and replaced with a manic handwriting and style that certainly was not mine. It was dated a day ago, shortly after he went missing. 0117, I broke into Soren's house. I used the key under the flower pot. 0120, I got a knife from the kitchen and walked upstairs into his mom's bedroom. I stabbed her 6 times and left the knife in her heart. 0126, I opened the garage and found a jerry can filled with gasoline. I poured it all over the house and lit it on fire. 0129, the fire attracted attention, so I ran away. 0147, she made me do this. I'm gonna make her pay. 0613, I'm waiting in the shed. She's going to look for me. She knows I'm here. I'm going to get her back for what she's done. 1500, the bell rang. Almost time. 1653, she came. Everything is over. I'm gonna ruin her like she ruined me. 1736, the shears are nice. I see her eyes get so big when I hold them near her. This will be perfect retribution. The police looked at me with even more sympathy after that and consoled me like a wounded animal. A teacher caught a glimpse of the note and choked back a small sob. What did she ever do to deserve this? Any of this? There was a small commotion from the crowd of students in the distance. A girl broke free from the people holding her back, and she rushed over to me. The students grimaced and avoided eye contact. She came over and knelt beside me and gave me a big hug.
It's okay. It's okay. Everything will be okay. I'm so sorry you had to go through this, but everything's fine now. You're safe. You're okay. I'm here for you.
I returned the hug and replied with a shaky voice, "Thanks,
Sammy," she offered.
I squeezed harder and cried into her shoulder. "Thanks, Sammy."
Talk to me if you ever need to, okay? I don't believe the rumors, so just come to me whenever. We can be friends.
Okay. I smiled and looked out to the crowd of students gathered in the distance, their eyes looking anywhere but here. Let's be friends.
Let's not. Oh my god, that was really good. Let me just greet some people in my chat, okay? Welcome in, Nase, and also welcome in Always a Smile. So nice to see friends. Yeah, we're reading. We're reading here, and Snivine is drawing some pictures. These are all stories written by our friend Cactusroom. So let's do some shouts here. Cactusroom is a classical guitarist, but also he is a writer, and we're just getting a chance to hear some of his work. And also Snivine is an artist, and we're having a collab here to see her work as well. So let's see the pictures that you drew while we were reading.
Okay. This is quite a story. I have a couple.
It was quite as you were saying, like the psycho thing.
Yeah, did you expect it? Thanks for the claps, Tex. Yeah, I knew it was coming,
like
so
that. Wow.
I got to start drawing some of the images a little bit in advance, cause this is the first shot. Our cute protagonist and their notebook and their friends who aren't scared at all. And then this is breakfast. Having breakfast, the peanut butter. And then this is it's kind of like a I didn't expand it on this one too much, but this is a whole Sarah arc with oh no, where did that peanut butter come from? This is
I like the POV shot.
yeah, I didn't intend for it to be like a theme throughout, but then I realized these were all like POV, and I felt like, oh, you know, that works, because we, you know, it's told entirely first person, and it feels very much in the mind of this child, right? These are the text messages. Oh, poor Sharon. This is Sharon in the shed. These are the shears, and the poor kid's been gagged.
Oh.
This is another shot of the shed, but it's when he's trying to break free with the shears that have been left there. And the protagonist was like, have a think about it. Do you want to die or do you want to die? Go on.
Great.
This is someone who's broken free. He's got the shears, is running towards the protagonist. Do we ever learn her name? I don't remember.
Nope.
And that the shelves are collapsing.
No name.
She was pushing them over. Oh. Then there's the first shot of our protagonist. I assume she looks very
good. Very
you know,
good.
innocent. And then
That one
not
was
so
amazing, sis.
innocent.
That one is really good. I love it.
This is the last one.
Oh, I'm just a cute little girl. I wouldn't do anything wrong.
Anything. What? No. What could possibly happen? What could possibly happen? This is the last, the epilogue where
I'm just wholesome.
Wow, this is great.
oh no, my internet's a
I'm
bit
just
bad.
wholesome little girl. I wouldn't do anything.
I hope the audio's not warped on my end as well. My internet's like buffering a little bit. It tends to around this time for some reason. Oh no, they're gone. They're gone.
Yeah, we're still here. Can you hear us?
Okay, I
We're
can
still
hear
here.
you.
I do see a little bit of buffering.
Oh, your videos are
But, for some
frozen.
reason, our pictures seem to be frozen.
Yeah, the audio is all like distorted.
Yeah, I noticed you were echoing a little bit.
Oh no! Oh no, hopefully it's not too bad. At least it was just at the very end of the stream.
Yeah. Oh, Cactus, it was a really good story.
Yeah, it was a great
It
story.
really was. You know
no.
what?
Oh no.
I want to tell you that I really related to that story a lot.
Chat, are you hearing
Oh,
this?
Because,
Are you hearing this? Turn into robots? No. I can't understand
yes, we're turning
anything.
into robots. Is that it? Oh no.
Cactus
Oh,
and
you have to
Joanne
wait
are
for
great readers and
my
also
internet to
great.
fix.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
related to that story a lot. Because when I was in
What?
school, I was that person that people didn't want to be friends with.
Oh.
And I had it happen to me. Like, there's a story that I tell in my chat sometimes. that when I was in school, I was unpopular, and it wasn't because I did anything wrong. It was because I was like I didn't wear the right clothes, and yeah, and I didn't like belong to like the right uh, crowd,
Mm-hmm.
and so like I actually had it happen at one time that I had a friend who was just who liked hanging out with me and stuff. And one day she came up to me and said, "Well, I'm becoming unpopular because of you. And it's not
Oh.
because of anything you did wrong. It's just because I want to be popular. And since you're not, and people see me hanging out
Oh,
with you, I don't want to be your friend anymore."
man, high
And
school.
that was the kind of, it was junior high, I think. But,
Oh,
and then the worst part about it was, a couple years later, I had moved away and I came to visit. And, she happened to be, like, at this picnic that of friends that I was at, and she actually had a boyfriend, and this guy happened to be one of the really nicest guys in the school, and I was so mad that she was dating this guy because he was so nice.
no.
And, I didn't talk to her at the picnic, and at one time, she said to me, "Well, just because I didn't wanna be your friend doesn't mean you can't talk to me." And I was like, "What the heck?" You know?
Oh.
Oh, no, yeah. It's kinda. It's kinda hard to know
So,
what
like,
that
when I was
means,
reading this
right?
story, yeah. And so when I was reading the story that Cactus wrote, I mean, especially toward the end, you hear the vindictiveness in my voice. And that's because it's like I'm really getting into character. And I'm like, yeah,
My gosh.
I kind of understand how she feels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess maybe there was a part of me because I had things like that happen to me where I would be like calling people and they'd say, "Oh, I can't get together with you right now because I'm washing my hair," you know?
Mm-hmm.
Why is she waiting?
And I'd be and I think to myself that there was probably a part of me that would have loved to have done what this main character did, even though it's like, oh, and everybody would have been like, "Oh, Joanne, no, she's a good kid. She's wholesome. No, she would never do anything."
Yeah, but we're gonna cycle
Very true.
somewhere deep down, right?
There's definitely
Yeah.
a part of me that would have wanted to get revenge on those people. I do think so.
Nah, I
Now
can
that I'm like reading this
understand.
story, and I didn't realize that until now. It's until I read that, and you know what? There's something in me that would probably has that evil.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, when I wrote this story, I was thinking that it's like this is like a really like real thing that you can feel, and like a really common situation that you see and things like that.
this feels like
So
the
I
way
thought
I
like,
can
yeah,
imagine like a child murderer could possibly think like. It was very immersive.
Yeah. I think that there probably are some real life situations like that, right? Where like there were some mass shootings at schools, and the person that did it was like one of those type people.
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
unfortunately, in our country, I don't know about your countries that where you live.
not so much, but
uh,
um, actually, when I sent the story to some people, there like a lot actually more than just you. A lot of people said that like man, why do I kind of feel like I can relate to this main character actually?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not
yeah.
the only one.
I think that's what makes it
That's really
creepy.
interesting
Because you can relate to it, right? You're like, oh, I guess this could
because you
happen.
kind of feel it inside.
Ooh,
Like you feel
we're
like,
all
yeah, you know
the
what,
main
this could have been
character.
me.
Oh
Yeah.
my
I think
gosh.
it's like a lot of people have like these kinds of doubts, right? Like
Yeah.
about like friendship and about like communication and about like what someone else is doing and like not having like full knowledge over someone else all the time at every single moment. Like, maybe like not resorting to like the murder break-in part, but I think like a lot of people have like the general kinds of thoughts that this person has had at least once, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like the situations where you message someone and they don't answer you back and that kind of thing. It does sort of sometimes make you angry, right? And you think, what's going on? And it would be there is a part I think that would like to get revenge. Who knows?
Yeah. There's a lot of people who have had their...
Very good story, Cactus. I applaud you. Yay.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing your story with us too, Joanne.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm actually going to raid into you right now.
Oh.
And do you all want to is it okay if we finish here?
Sure.
Since it seems like we're kind of breaking up.
Probably it'd be a good time for me to finish, so I could go to bed.
Someone else.
What's that?
What if you both raid into someone else?
Yeah, that works too.
Okay.
It seems like you're both about to end, right?
Yeah, okay. Let's see who we're gonna go to. I'm going to go.
Oh god. My internet is on its last legs. I'm so sorry. I'm like trying very hard to as well just like understand what's being said.
Alright, let's see.
Oh no. Your images are so
frozen. On. He's a friend. You guys want to go see Guitar Shredder?
Guitar Shredder? Whoa.
Or we could go see Jim Mental Health Coach. You never know what's going on there.
Oh. I'm gonna quickly read.
You see that you go. Do you see anybody you want to raid into, Sniv?
There's a couple. There's quite a couple streamer friends live right now, but I don't particularly.
Let's see who you have.
Oh yeah.
Others might be nice.
Okay. There's a lot of artists live right now. If we wanna see more art. How are we feeling? Art or a musician?
Yeah, I think that would be. What do you think, Cactus? Would you like to see an artist?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll have a couple friends.
Family friendly, hopefully.
Okay. I was about to. Okay. This person is. They're not unfamily friendly, but they swear a lot. Maybe not them. Okay, hold on.
A little bit of swear is fine. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Okay. Where is this person? No. Okay. You want me to send them to you? Do you want me to send them to you so you
will write more stories so we can read more stories?
Yes. I'd love to read more Cactus stories.
That we didn't read.
Okay, my tabs are not loading. This is so great. Excuse me. Thank you for the code. Thanks for being here. Thank you for hanging out. And to Cactus and Joanne for making this possible as well. It's been such a chill time. It's been so lovely.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Smile says she's gonna call me when she can't sleep tonight. Cactus,
God.
it's okay for me to share these stories with anybody I want to?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So did you find someone, Sniv?
Oh.
To raid into?
Yeah, we have a couple options. Do you want me to send them to you somehow?
Yeah, you can go ahead and put them into my chat if you can.
To your chat. Okay.
You can chat them out because you're VIP.
Okay. Have access. See, but I know you like to rate smaller people. They are.
Yes, I do
Right,
appreciate
larger.
smaller people.
Oh wait.
Give them a chance.
SO. Access. Whoops. Wait, I'm not doing it right.
Go ahead.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
And other person is.
And by the way, people in my chat, if you like these hula baby emotes, Sniv made them.
Hula baby.
And they're really, really nice. And if you need someone to make emotes for you, she's your girl.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
Okay, I think Akia's cat we went to the last time.
Oh, did we?
So
Okay.
let's go to. I'm gonna go right into accidenti.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Let's get that shit up. Thank you for being here too, Govania. And to all our lovely lurkers, you're always appreciated. I see you, I perceive you, and I appreciate you. Sit. See? Okay.
All right, my raid has started, everybody.
Woo! Let's get started. Okay. Sit. Dante. Hope. Super fun artists. I hope you enjoy this stream as well.
All right, thank you so much, everybody, for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you, mods. Thank you,
Shout
Case,
out
for
to
being
Cactus
here.
for hanging
Smile.
too.
Thank you. Let's
Cactus
go
for-
see them.
So we should just raid into
All right, I'm going to
little-
the raid now.
the actual Cactus Frank one day, out of nowhere
That'd
for
be
no
great.
reason.
Everyone's
Anyway.
following, they look at their channel. There's just like 20
Okay, I've
followers randomly.
raided.
Okay, let me get a raid message real quick. Feel free to copy this if you like. Otherwise, otherwise.
Thank you for the follows from let's see. Thank you for the follows from Accidenti and from Paulo 60.
There we go. Whichever works for you. For the bottom one, if no sub, if top one. Wait. If sub, you can use the top one. Thank you very much for joining me today. Good morning, good noon, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Make sure you check out Joanne. Make sure you check out Joanne. Make sure you check out Cactus. They were both linked. The channel's right there. Click it, please. Text CPD. Thank you for the follow. See you next time. Bye bye.
Okay, I will hang up the I'm gonna hang up the thingy.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for joining today, Joanne. Thank you.
I loved it. It was really fun.
It was
Thank you,
so
Cactus.
fun. Thank you so much. Look forward to hearing more of your stories.
Really enjoyed your stories.
Good job. Okay. Until next
Bye.
time.